There's a shift happening right now, and many producers feel like their careers are on the line. AI is getting better, no one seems to have a budget, and finding clients is hard. It's enough to make you want to just go hide out in the woods forever. But you know who's making a ton of money right now in the music business? Coaches. You've seen these guys. And they're building wildly successful businesses selling to the exact same artists that you're trying to reach. Now, I'm not telling you to ditch your studio and become a coach, but they understand things about business that most producers don't. And you should steal some of their business ideas and apply them to your career as a producer. I'll show you 3 producers who did this, and it helped them land more clients, double their rates, and just restore their faith that producing is still a viable career. I'm Daniel. For the past decade, producers have hired me to help make their careers more sustainable. Let's dive in. So the big thing producers are most afraid of right now is being replaced by AI, right? And the fear is that artists won't need to hire them anymore because they'll be able to do all the production themselves. But the reality is that the number of independent artists producing their own records has already been increasing over the last decade. This isn't a brand new problem. I hear about this every day when I'm helping producers network. They'll reach out to 100 artists and come back completely deflated because half of them are already producing themselves. So they start thinking, well, I guess artists don't need producers anymore, and start questioning the viability of this career. But there's a concept that you can steal from these coaches that will help you turn those artists into clients. And I want to show you exactly how one of our producers does it. We have a producer here at Dark Label named James, who I helped transition to full-time about 5 years ago. And James has a ton of paying clients who are singer-songwriters that produce and mix their own music, which might sound surprising, but here's why those artists still hire him. When James learns they self-produce, he doesn't try to force the idea of hiring a producer on them, nor does he just run away from the conversation. He just replies with, "That's awesome. I do this for a living. Are there any questions you have about production?" And since self-producing artists are figuring everything out themselves, they almost always have questions. So James offers to hop on a call and help them out. Now, this is important. On the call, he doesn't desperately try to give loads of feedback in order to prove his worth. He plays it cool. If they ask a production question, he answers it. But he's more interested in where the artist is trying to go, what their career goals are, and why they're producing themselves. And what he usually uncovers is that they're producing themselves because A, learning new skills motivates them, and B, they want to be more self-sufficient. But their big picture goal is the same, to release great music that puts them on the map. James knows that these artists still want help and will invest in it, but traditional production services where they hand the entire project off to someone else isn't what they want. What they actually want is to learn new skills and feel more self-sufficient. They essentially told James what they want to buy. So guess what? That's exactly what he offers. The real job of a producer is to help artists release great songs, period. If they want to do some or all of it themselves, that's fine. So he'll just say something like, well, what if we just meet every week for an hour, check in, make sure the song is moving forward, and I'll help you with whatever you want to learn. I can jump in and fill some gaps. That way you can release great songs faster and become better producing at the same time. Would that help? Yes, it would. And that is why self-producing artists still hire James to work on their projects. It's an offer that they actually want. But here's the twist. You probably assume that artists only produce themselves so that they don't have to pay for anything. But that's not always true. James is still able to charge around 75% of his production rate, while only working about 25% of the hours he normally would. And that is the first concept you can steal from these coaches and apply to your studio business. See, producers tend to think that their value is in the labor they provide and how many hours they're putting in. But these coaches understand the real value is in their thinking and guidance. That is what they sell. And that's why if you break it down, they typically make way more per hour than producers do. But let's say you're able to find artists who want to hire you as a producer, but getting them to pay your rates feels like pulling teeth. I've got a solution for you. The reason you're struggling to find artists with a budget isn't because they don't have one. It's because they're choosing to spend it somewhere else. The artists that you interact with daily who say they really want to work with you, but then never make that first payment, are often the same ones dropping thousands of dollars on coaching programs every year. I know this to be a fact because I know a lot of the people who run those programs. But why would artists spend thousands on a coach, but not on a great producer like you? Isn't music the most important part? See, these coaches understand something that you don't. And once you get it, selling music production becomes much easier. I'll explain it with an example. For the past 3 years, I've worked on and off with a producer in the UK named Dan Scholes. When I first met him, he was charging under $1,000 a song and couldn't understand why artists wouldn't pay more. So I gave him an assignment. I said, Dan, go study these coaching programs that artists are spending money on, then come back to me and tell me what you learn. A month or two later, we're on a call and he tells me, hey, I figured it out. So I said, cool, what did you learn? And he said, well, I put myself in the artist's shoes and pretended I was them. And what I realized is that production is a much harder sell than these coaching programs. To invest in a coaching program, I just have to believe learning something new will help my career. Easy. But to invest in a producer, I have to believe this one song or album will be successful. And that's harder to believe, especially if I feel like I don't have the other pieces in place, like promotion. And I said, you're exactly right. So I had Dan build a small network of advisors. Any producer can do this. Through social media, he connected with a playlist promoter who worked at a label and understood marketing, and a very accomplished vocal coach, both willing to work for a fair hourly rate. Then he built them into his offer. From that point, it became much easier for artists to believe hiring Dan would actually help move their career forward. His rates went from being stuck under $1,000 to now over $2,000 per song. See, most producers think the only way to charge more is to get bigger credits. But these coaches understand something different. People don't buy based on accolades. They buy based on belief. Belief that what they're investing in will actually move their career forward. And that's exactly what Dan's new offer gave them. But there's one last thing I need to show you, because if you do it, it will make your career as a producer much more sustainable long term. Let me ask you a question. As a producer, have you ever struggled with marketing yourself? You sit in front of your computer, can't figure out what to post. Eventually you throw up some videos, but nothing really happens, right? No artist sliding into your DMs. So you get frustrated and demotivated because getting work feels more and more like a grind. Almost every producer I talk to right now feels this way. It's hard to focus on your craft while also having to spend time on marketing. But there's actually a way to market yourself that doesn't feel like a second job. And I want to show you how one of our producers stumbled into it. I work with a producer named Pete down in Australia. He was already full-time when we met. He had some label credits, but he was struggling to market his freelance business. And he tried a bunch of different content approaches. And what ended up working originally was this educational content about songwriting. But there was a problem. Pete didn't like making that stuff. Even though it worked, it didn't feel authentic to what he was really trying to do. Deep down, Pete was a record producer, not really a teacher. So he scrapped that idea and instead he tried something different. He started a Substack. If you're unfamiliar with that, it's just like a blog and an email newsletter in one. And he started small. He just added his clients to it and started sharing it once a week on Instagram. Instead of feeling like he had to always come up with a viral content idea, Pete just shared what he was already doing, the artists and projects he was working on. But there's a right and a wrong way to do this. You can't just treat it like a diary. No one cares about that. People want to know what's in it for them, right? So Pete shared his projects in a way that highlighted creative moments, making it really entertaining, while also pulling out lessons, making it very useful. Each post lets you into his world, so you get to know him, but you also walk away with something. Fair warning, though, if you want to try this. This type of content doesn't explode overnight. It grows very, very slowly. But after about 6 months, it is already working. Most of his recent clients have come from his Substack, and it's been easy for Pete to stay consistent because it feels authentic and effortless. A lot of producers assume that they have to become a marketing guru and go viral in order to get clients, but that requires constantly having to come up with new ideas. I tell my producers to model what I do as a business owner and consultant who also has to market my own services. Dark Label is a niche business. I don't need to go viral. I just need the right people to resonate with it. And I don't sit around wondering what to post. I get content ideas every day from the work that I'm already doing. Think about it. This entire video was just me showing you how I work with producers. But you're still learning something and hopefully feeling inspired. And some of you will decide that you want to hire my company to help launch or grow your business as a producer. I left a link in the description if you want to explore that. But there are so many business lessons you can take from other industries. coaching, stores, fashion, local restaurants, and apply it directly to your music career. I do this all the time. And in this next video, I'll show you a framework I learned from other creative freelancers that can make your career feel more stable long-term. Thanks for watching. We'll see you on the next one.